Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AuthorHood podcast. Hope everyone's being in every good. Another poet graces our show today, him being Sameer S Nilatkar, who's also a hotelier and a biker, putting his best joy in whatever he does. Just by what and how he posts on his Instagram handle, one can know of how beautiful his being is. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much for accepting our invite.
Hi Ashita, thank you so much for inviting me for your esteemed podcast. I'm really thrilled to have this conversation with you.
Pleasure to have you. So, how will you best
Yes.
introduce yourself to the listeners?
I'm actually a hotelier by profession.
Okay.
I would rather say I'm a chef who started his career about 2.5 decades back.
Okay.
I started with the Taj hotels. Then gradually, as and when the work opportunity took me across India.
Hmm.
I kept switching over profiles as well as switching over and trying different cuisines and the varied kitchens across India. Here I am in Mumbai now. It has been 1.5 decades,
Okay.
and I'm working into corporate sales. I switched my lines because that gave me a quite a big amount of opportunity
Hmm.
to roam about, to mingle with different kind of people, to
Huh.
learn, so much about the outside environment, the way people speak, the way people react, their different cultures. And it gave me, immense exposure being outside here. And since I had a knack of engaging in a good conversation, with whatever clients and customers who used to visit at the hotel,
Hmm.
I thought, I might as well, put it into a much better use.
Better use.
And
Yes.
that's how I'm into corporate sales. And of course, hotel industry gives me a lot of opportunities to travel across widely,
Hmm.
so I put it to good use.
Amazing. That was quite swift. When you say you've been switching on professions.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So, there's biking as well. Yes. A lot of biking.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, biking, hoteling, writing, clicking, that's some real adventurous pick, I must say. How sane do you feel making yourself available to your choices?
I would put it the other way. I would say the choices chose me.
Wow.
Okay, it's a huge canvas, as you said.
Huh.
Biking, hoteling, writing, photography. It's
Hmm.
a huge canvas. So what I am doing is that I am giving it life through writing. For
Okay.
example, when we say about hotels,
Hmm.
usually many people you would see they like a particular dal tadka which is served at a highway dhaba.
Ha,
Those
ha.
flavors, those essences, that overall feeling, what you say, makes you nostalgic. It
Hmm.
takes you
Hmm.
back, to your memories and all that.
Ha.
So consciously what I do is that I try to explore such rustic recipes, I will say. Like
Okay.
let us say, bhendi tawa masala, then
Hmm.
dhaba style chicken and all those stuff. So that goes as far as we talk about hotels.
Hmm.
And biking, of course, I have been biker since my junior college days, and it
Acha.
has been my passion, like to roam about, to explore offbeat paths.
Hmm. Hmm.
The off-roading, in technical terms, in rider terms, you call it as off-roading.
Off-roading, yes.
So I like to explore such places all
Hmm.
across wherever I am. Depends whether I am in Mumbai or I am in Pune or I am in Kolkata or
Hmm.
Bangalore. So I do make a conscious choice that I must go and visit and see this particular spot and try to map that trail.
Hmm.
Naturally, I'm seeing a lot many things. There's wonderful nature. There are vast amounts of different plants, different trees, flowers,
Hmm.
birds. I feel they have to be, the story has to be told. That's my
Exactly.
intention, is telling a story.
Hmm.
Today's many of the people, especially
Hmm.
in the daily corporate hobnob,
Hmm.
absolutely get engrossed, and they hardly are able to make out time for such activities. So at
Exactly.
least I'm doing something, like something good, if I may say. I'm getting them stories, making it easier for them
Hmm.
to go and explore these places.
Wow.
So these are like, this is what makes me, it's the canvas actually, I mean, the choices have chosen me.
Wow. So well said. So you talked about profession, you talked about passion. Tell me, how well do you think passion and profession they are related?
For me, yes, they are related. They are
Hmm.
absolutely related. I'll tell you, as I mentioned you earlier, that I have been, working since last 2.5 decades in the hotel industry.
Hmm.
And, I've been meeting hundreds of people, across, a month, or maybe, 1,000 people across a year, I would say.
Huh.
And so that gives me a lot of time to, like, to observe them, to observe their different nuances, their particular habits,
Hmm.
how they talk, how they walk, what's what exactly happens inside
Hmm.
a five-star hotel,
Hmm.
what exactly happens at the coffee shop, or what exactly happens at the restaurant also. There's a huge story, like,
Sorry, yes.
I am working on a novel which is a murder mystery.
Okay.
So hopefully I should be able to, publish it, coming, Jan next year, 2025.
Okay.
For me, they are, passion and profession are related. They
They
are
are.
related because I do equally enjoy cooking. I do equal.
Okay.
It's not like since I've switched profiles, I've gone, to sales and all that, that I don't,
Huh.
do cooking anymore. Or
Hmm.
so I do cook as and on, the opportunity and time permits, and I do play around with recipes. I put in my own kind of inventions and all that.
Believe me, the next thing we are sitting is for a podcast on food, on recipes.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll assure you on that. Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So now you have named your Instagram handle and your first poetry book, Culture Curry. How and why?
Yes. Culture curry is, for me, is a melting pot of food, travel, and poetry.
Okay.
So, I believe that the name fits well to be christened in as a book.
Hmm.
Initially, when I set up, this Culture Curry account on Insta, I received
Hmm.
quite a few messages, where users mentioned they like the name,
Huh.
and also, a few respondents said that they envy my username. So I thought,
Acha.
yes, there is something like, something unique in this name, like, Culture Curry.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, it's pronounced with a K, not with a C.
Huh.
So that altogetherly hits out. And and that's the reason I kept the book's name as Culture Curry. I
Hmm.
thought this is the opening book, this is the inaugural thing. Let me
Hmm.
name it as Culture Curry. And the same goes with my blog as well, culturecurry.com. That's my website actually,
Huh. Huh.
a website and a WordPress blog, in which I detail my travels about food,
Hmm.
about my biking expeditions. Like, of late, a couple of months back, in the month of May, I did a solo Ladakh ride
Acha.
that lasted for about 12 days. So I covered the whole length and breadth of Ladakh,
Hmm.
and even that is detailed with helpful tips and insight as to, like, how to go about it, what would
Hmm.
make
Hmm.
your journey easier, how to do long distance riding, what are the helpful aids, in assistance, what are present there when
Hmm.
you are doing, like, off-roading and all that. So
Huh.
all that kind of stuff is taken care of.
Amazing. So, taking in concern their dressing, I'd say Culture Curry uses every spice under the sun in its making.
Yes.
Be it hope, love, nature, life, travel, and XYZ, how do you want the curry to taste to the readers?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I want the readers to experience the yin and yang. You
Okay.
see,
Hmm.
the contracting energies and the
Hmm.
active forces. As for my poetry, I inculcate the same ideology in my cooking as well. There are
Hmm.
two contrasting flavors to most of the recipes, yet
Acha.
together they create a brilliant fusion.
Hmm.
There are many other, there are many other things as well. Like, if we talk about, like, exploring nature and all that, like, one has to, endure the hardships. One has to, in the sense, when I say
Hmm.
hardships, in the sense, the weather, taking the weather into account, the
Hmm.
roads into account. There can be harsh summers. There can be, like, harsh winds, chilly
Hmm.
winds. There can be, what do you say, a heavy rainfall. There can be mud and slush and everything. So you have to, like, go across these things, tread those paths, and that's when you're going to get the ultimate view. So that is how, I want everybody to experience, culture curry. It should be a balance of yin and yang. Not only the good roads, but the bad roads as well.
Very well put. A little about the second book, Nevros Pestos. So,
Yes.
Nevros Pestos over the puppet. You chose to write the English word for the convenience of understanding, or is it, like the soldier ek sipahi trend?
No. It is intentionally, written for the convenience of understandings.
Okay,
So
fine.
neurospastos it's a Greek word.
It's a Greek word, yes.
Yeah. So, loosely translated, it means, as a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, aligning with the central theme of the book, which is that anything is governed by some form of external or unseen force. So I thought it imperative to mention the word, puppet.
Puppet is, huh?
Marionette, the opening poem of the book, is a very heartfelt poem. It's about this puppet, a marionette, a wooden puppet,
Hmm.
which is carved out of, marionette.
Hmm.
And, it's about her story,
Acha.
what are her feelings, what are her emotions, what she goes through,
Hmm.
and, what are her aspirations.
Hmm.
So most of the poems, in Nevros Pastos are, are based on this trend that there is some, some kind of, force or some kind of energy, I'll say,
Hmm.
which is which governs us,
Yes.
not only in the in a good way, but in the bad way as well, both,
Bad ways. Yes.
in both ways, certain themes, certain poems, the Black Coffee, which
Hmm.
is also a highly rated poem, explores this theme, in a different angle,
Okay.
not only the protagonist but the antagonist as well.
Okay. So there are both the good and the evil. Like you're trying to say of the balance.
Correct.
Amazing again. And when you talk about the power above, let's take in consideration time. It's one power
Okay.
that we are
Mhm.
that is over us, controlling us.
Correct.
So yeah.
Correct.
So if in tune with time, it befriends. But if not, it's the most efficient puppeteer. That's my personal perspective.
Correct.
What would be yours say?
See, Nevros Pastos has varied shades.
Hmm.
There are poems on the, as we spoke about earlier, poems on the unseen, unfelt, and an outside force, which have some slightly different nuances depending upon the context. But at the same time, it has poetry about food, drink, etc., which again correlate.
Hmm.
For example, there's a poem titled "Hogger's Breakfast,"
Hmm.
which beautifully describes a glutton devouring a buffet.
Okay.
But why
Hmm.
does he indulge in such an act? Is for the readers to assimilate.
Okay.
Why that particular person is such a carnivore when it comes to food, and he's just hogging
Hmm.
on all kinds of things, and he's,
Mindlessly, hogging mindlessly.
yes, mindlessly, and he takes
Hmm.
extreme delight in
Hmm.
doing that.
Hmm.
And he's he's unmoved by his surroundings. He's
Hmm.
absolutely enjoying himself.
Huh.
It obviously is giving him extreme pleasure and thrill or whatever, but
Hmm.
at the same time it is he's unmindful of the consequences of overeating.
Hmm.
So what happens during his breakfast and all that is for the I would leave for the readers to assimilate that, how they
Readers to
take it,
estimate. Hmm.
yes,
Okay, that's it's an open ending kind of a thing, and it's for you to decide what you're going
yes,
to pick out
yes.
of it.
Correct, absolutely. Then there's also a poem called as the Devil's Ice Cream.
बहुत एफर्ट लगाया गया है नाम रखने में, टाइटल देने
Yes.
में.
Thank you. But as I said, food is something that comes naturally to me,
Yes.
and so
So the names.
thoughts thoughts assimilate, yeah, very naturally to me when you're talking about food, drink,
Hmm.
food and drink especially. The Devil's Ice Cream is also sort of has been one of my personal best, I would say,
अच्छा.
my personal best. I loved writing the poem, creating it, and giving the characters life.
Wow. So, because there is a lot of hope in the poem, and I read the
Yes.
word in the blurb as well. So, hope
Mm.
for the better and work for the best, yet be prepared for the worst. Is that a nice
Yes.
say?
Yes, absolutely. You see, I'll recall one incident which occurred on my, last biking trip to Ladakh. We almost completed the whole circuit, in about a matter of 10 days or so. And
Hmm.
on the way back, we were hit by a severe snowstorm at Changla, which is
Okay.
at the top, bang at the top. You
Uh-huh.
know, we were a dozen of us bikers, and let me tell you, we were all seasoned bikers,
Acha.
very seasoned bikers.
Hmm.
But we got stranded in the storm for close to 3 hours. And that's a big thing. Getting stranded in a snowstorm for close to 3 hours.
Hmm.
Thanks to our survival skills in the high altitude,
Hmm.
we managed, bike our way back to Leh. And particularly also because we were the right people
Hmm.
to carry on that job, do that artist biking,
Hmm.
and we had the right bike and the right equipment.
Good. Yes. Hmm.
We were hopeful. We
Hmm.
were hopeful, that the weather turns out to be good. It's nice, bright and sunny, yet
Hmm.
sufficiently cold enough for us to enjoy
Hmm.
biking. But then suddenly it turned for the worse.
Hmm.
Most of us had a bad fall as well. It took a couple of months for me to get back out of it. I had a bad knee injury as well, but we continued with the ride. But yes, we were prepared for that. We had the right equipment with us. We had the right bike with us. We were with the right kind of clothing, the right kind of gears. So yes, you have to be prepared for the worst.
Prepared.
Had we not been with the right kind of gear, I would say I don't know, I would not have been able to be on this podcast with you today. So that's how life is.
You are a person of examples.
Okay, I would say that.
Yes, I asked you a question and you beautifully answered it with an example.
Thank you so much, madam.
Wow. So, a little something on the kind of lifestyle we are leading these days. I
Hmm.
Am My Own Master has taken over the minds of all age groups, and it gives a
Hmm.
hard blow right in the face to the peer, mostly.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
to some extent, it's hard to accept that it's actually all about acceptance. This is something people
Hmm.
really don't take into consideration. So, can
Hmm.
you make it a little easy for them people to understand, maybe with some personal experience of accepting and winning?
Okay, okay. I think this would be the most perfect and the right question, particularly
Huh.
framed for me. Okay, let me take this conversation a decade back, when I met
Huh.
with a very severe biking accident,
Acha.
and I had 5 fractures on my foot itself, on my
Okay.
right foot.
Huh.
But that didn't dissuade me from pursuing my long distance biking.
Okay.
Okay, I continued. I
Hmm.
carried on with it because I knew it, if I'm going to stop right now,
Hmm.
then it's the end of story for me. It's an end of chapter for me.
Hmm.
How would I visit these places? How would I meet different people? How would I see different cultures? How would I try out varied cuisines? That's
Hmm.
definitely not going to happen with me sitting in my drawing room and just imagining and
So, yeah.
ordering some food and all that and getting that actual experience, that those emotions which I
Hmm.
wanted to capture. When we talk about biking, it's a continuous journey. Every Sunday I'm out biking. You will
Okay.
not find me on any Sunday at home. Every
Acha.
Sunday morning at the crack of the dawn by
Hmm.
5:30, I'm already out on the highway,
Wow.
irrespective of what time of sleep, be it 12, 1, 2 a.m., whatever.
Acha.
And also to tell you, which not many people not be besides my close friends and of course my family know that I got diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, which is another debilitating disorder affecting the nerves.
Okay.
It's the trigeminal nerve, the
Hmm.
fifth nerve on
Yes.
at the back of your neck, which controls the left part of your face.
Hmm.
You know, so I got diagnosed with that sudden. That was that was a shot out of the blue
Hmm.
for me. I mean, here I am just walking, talking, and suddenly I collapse. I'm unable to talk absolutely.
Hmm.
I'm in absolutely shooting pain. I can't open my mouth. I can't drink water.
Hmm.
Forget talking to anybody. I can't move my facial muscles.
Hmm.
But here I am. I've taken the pain in my stride. I got over with it, or rather I would say I triumphed over it. I just did whatever the regular procedures and some natural therapies and all that might have that helped me a lot. to a certain extent.
Hmm.
And I'm still, avoiding because a lot of doctors, and my doctor advised me that, you have to, go for a surgery for this.
Hmm.
I said, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, let, anyone pierce my body with a needle. And, touch wood, I'm doing absolutely fine. I'm normal. See, the key is to immerse oneself in his passion or what a being thinks that, that this is the right cause, then this is the just cause, and just go chasing it. I think that is what, helped me, and that is what I would want, everybody to, take a lesson. No matter, whatever setbacks you're getting, you are
Hmm.
supposed to go ahead. You're not supposed to sit around and being stuck up.
Romanticize on what the wrong has been done to.
Correct, correct.
Yes. I mean, I've actually crossed my fingers, and this has worked as a magic potion for you, I must say. It was resilience, it was
Yes, yes,
your
yes.
willpower, it was everything, it was acceptance, everything. Just not to give
Yeah,
up.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
True.
Wow. Another beautiful example. So, how far do you think the belief in the higher entity has made your day to day living an easy take? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
however much one may put in logic and reasons and concepts, the higher truth is that everything is being worked out the way it was supposed to. So, how do you see that?
Yes.
What is your take on it?
I have my reasons to support this statement
Hmm.
or this question rather.
Hmm.
Especially, when I was biking in, the certain remote areas like jungles and off-roads, etc.
Hmm.
And I am unable to make it to my desired destination at
Hmm.
a given point of time, which is usually before the sun sets in.
Okay.
I have encountered yes, quite a lot, I will say, supernatural events,
Hmm.
or you could name it as ghosts as well.
Oh my god.
But the higher power has helped me. Yes, yes, it has happened to me. It has happened to me. And
Huh.
all these incidents have happened so fast that it's I do not have any personal documented evidence to support, the same.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Now, I'm sure there must be something that is protecting me. And that's the reason I'm still on Earth.
That was a chill down my spine, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. This was about I would tell you, I was, biking all the way to Hyderabad,
Huh.
and I was unable to make it. There was a slight delay,
Hmm.
because, malfunction in the bike, which I got it rectified on the way.
Hmm.
So that was a cumulative delay of about a couple of hours
Hmm.
during my travel. And, I was still, about, I would say around 150, 180 kilometers, away from Hyderabad. And I was going through these, remote roads.
Hmm.
I'm perfect. I'm not feeling sleepy and all that. It's just, sunset has just come in by. So,
Hmm.
I'm perfectly normal and I'm not tired, because I'm used to all these, very long and grueling rides.
Hmm.
And, suddenly it's pitch dark. It was singularly me. And I had been biking since about 4 to 5 kilometers. That was the last junction that I saw a human being or a car or a vehicle.
Hmm.
Suddenly, in the midst of this thing,
Hmm.
a figure comes bang in between the road. Now, I'm sure, people will have a hearty laugh at it. That figure was wearing a white kind of full robe.
Hmm.
And I couldn't even, actually grasp whether it was a man or a woman, to be very
Hmm.
frank.
Huh.
And I was in a decent speed of I was averaging around, I would say, 90 kilometers, which was fair enough because, I had, another 180 kilometers to, reach Hyderabad.
Huh. Huh.
What happens is that I am crossing this being,
Hmm.
this particular entity, or whatever you may say,
Hmm.
and I suddenly halt, going ahead. Like now, at the speed of 90, it's not that easy to immediately brake. And I, being a cautious,
Obviously.
rider and
Huh.
a well-behaved rider, I slow down a little bit. But
Hmm.
that should not have had taken me, I would say, more than, not even a minute or so to come
Hmm.
down to, a decent speed. But I could brake instantly, take the bike on the left side of the highway.
Hmm.
And this all I'm seeing behind, there's absolutely no one, not a sight, not a sight of any human being.
Hmm.
And it's like there are only trees which are lined up along the highway where you
Hmm.
can get a clear visibility. And neither there were any thick bushes or anything. They were just next barren farmlands. both the sides of the road. I was astonished as to where that being or that person came from, suddenly in the middle. So these kind of experiences, yes, I have been through.
Believe me, I'm having goosebumps right in my cheeks. And I
I have
am
had.
visualizing
Yes,
how
yes,
would you have been in that moment.
yes, yes. One of my poems in Nevros Paso also deals with this subject, whereby I was biking around and I had a clutch cable failure,
Hmm.
and I stopped across broad daylight, and this was broad daylight now,
Hmm.
nobody miles and all that.
Hmm.
This must be an actual living entity what I'm talking about. But for me, the experience was otherworldly. This gentleman comes suddenly with
Hmm.
a normal kacha and lungi and all that, and
Hmm.
carrying a stick in his hand. And he said the nearest help is about at least about 3 kilometers away. Why don't you come down and relax for some time? And I walk along with him. I park the bike there itself. His
Hmm.
house is just about, I would say, not even 10 minutes from the highway where my bike was parked.
Hmm.
And I, go there, and this gentleman, makes, an amazing tea for you. And let me tell you, I'm not a tea drinker at all. I'm
Okay.
absolute, black coffee drinker.
Hmm.
I guzzle many cups of coffee during the day.
Hmm.
And he offers me a cup of tea, which was like one of the best tea I had ever tasted. Maybe I'm a novice when it comes to say I agree on that.
Huh.
But
Huh.
it was one of the best, it was perfectly spiced with the right amount of ginger, very less amount of sugar and all that.
Hmm.
And then he says now we would like to eat something. I have already made some fish. He asked me whether you eat non-veg. I said yes, absolutely. I am a hardcore carnivore if you are talking about non-veg.
Uh,
And I had a meal with him. I shared a meal with him.
hmm.
Now I was with him maybe for about 45 minutes or so.
Hmm.
And then I bid him adieu and I bid him goodbye, and I came back to the bike and I walked all the way across because it was a
Uh,
cable failure. Right? The help was the 2 kilometers away. So I thought
hmm.
I could, easily traverse that path, taking my bike. Because the
Hmm.
road was good.
Hmm.
Those are experiences. Now when I'm returning back from the same road,
Hmm. There was nothing.
there was nothing.
Oh.
There's nothing. Now I didn't stop. But then I should see something at the same spot because I knew correctly where my bike was parked.
Ah, exactly.
As a biker, I'm very much aware wherever I get there's breakdown and all that.
Hmm.
It's a particular thing about me that I keep a track
Hmm.
of what is the point, where exactly was my fault or whatever.
Hmm.
And it was so there are these incidents, I'll say. So there is something definitely.
There is. There definitely is. Maybe it's like we don't acknowledge it or whatever, but there is. And
Correct. Yes,
even,
yes.
yes, even in our day to day lives, there is something that is keeping a watch through the day. I mean,
Correct.
we wake up,
I
we
agree.
go to bed, yes,
I
there is
only agree with
something.
you.
Oh,
Yes.
kitni देर से I've kept my fingers crossed. हाँ, I've
That's good
kept
to
them
hear.
crossed. हाँ, I'm listening to you and I'm just visualizing कि कैसा कैसा रहा होगा. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing this.
Yes.
So, be it culture curry or Nevrosbusters, your understanding of
Mhm.
life and the lens you look at life with, they seem to be crystal clear, or I must say, सुलझा हुआ नजरिया, that we say in Hindi. It is
Mhm.
that. No
Mhm.
knots. So, how did this actually happen? I mean, you have had your share of experiences.
Yes.
Where does this clear understanding, clear perspective comes from?
See, it's the reverse. I'm actually the most ulja hua banda, if I must say, because
हो ही
at a
नहीं
given point
सकता,
of
no.
time, there are so many things, running around in my mind at given particular time, and
See, you may be having them, but you know how to deal with them.
yeah, yes, that's correct.
Huh? That
I
makes you
agree.
the
Yes,
Suljawa person. Like, how do you
correct.
manage with that?
See, I'm an easy-go-lucky guy. I believe in the philosophy of live and
Hmm.
I believe in the philosophy of live and let live. And
Okay.
besides, I hardly have any time to ponder over anything that
Hmm.
stresses me out. It's a fact. My mantra is immerse yourself in work
Hmm.
and whatever you love. And the path gets cleared.
Hmm.
So, it's I'm an easy-go-lucky guy. I never like, take it, to my heart, anything for that matter.
Hmm.
And as a salesperson, you are, very, very used to rejections.
Hmm.
So I think that is somewhere like, steeped inside my personality.
Hmm.
For a salesperson, I say, it's very easy to get rejections or to hear, getting rejected and all that. Oh, your deal has not gone. Oh, this is
Hmm.
not true. We are not, happy with this. We are not going ahead with this. So that somewhere those rejections somewhere steeped inside me. Rejection has been, I would say like, a daily affair for me. And,
Hmm.
that has helped me a lot in, getting to deal with it in
Hmm.
personal life as well. Like I've been
Hmm.
used to those things, a deal not going, like, I'm unable to sell something, I'm unable to like, make it through a big contract
Hmm.
or, for that matter, unable to, what is it, create the kind of food and recipes that I want, a particular flavor profile that I need and all that. So
Hmm.
all these things, they have not had any negative impact on me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've always taken them with a pinch of salt, and I've always tried to work the things in a different way. Like at least as far as I'm concerned, I hardly know anybody who like who does all these three genres, like the food, travel, as well as poetry.
Obviously, yes.
So that itself is like a kind of big motivation for me.
Hmm.
And as I said, like it's my mantra is immerse yourself in work and whatever you love, and the
Hmm.
path gets cleared. So that is who I am.
Nicely said. So, the blurb of your second book, The Everest Pestors, has bulky words like defeat, dejection, triumph, victory, a come
Mhm.
and go, and forgive but not forget, learn and improve, having faith and acceptance. Like, how do you want them to take it?
It's about triumph and victory. So when I'm talking
Hmm.
about triumph is like when you have gone through like a lot of struggle or hardships or a lot of hard work put into it, and
Hmm.
then achieve that particular thing or task or whatever you are planning.
Hmm.
And then later on, I would say it becomes your victory, because why? Because that is where you have put on your stamp that yes, like this guy has been there, he has done that, like
Hmm. Hmm.
he has gone through it,
Gone through.
and
Yeah.
he's the guy who was the first person to have done it.
Hmm.
So it is like for me the victory would come later, but Neurospastors, it is like triumph and victory,
Hmm.
that I'll say do not bow down under any circumstances.
Hmm.
And all of my poems are like what you say, centralized around this theme. Obviously there is that that
Hmm.
external force thing that we were talking about,
Ha ha.
that comes into play
Hmm.
in most of the writings.
Hmm.
But triumph is in like it's all about motivation, self motivation.
Self motivation. Yes, exactly. They come into work when even we are resilient of it. Yes.
Yes, correct, I agree.
So you must have received a lot of reviews for both of your books.
Yes. You see, I'm happy, like, be it a good review or a bad review, I'm happy that that person,
Hmm.
has, at least made an, attempt to, go through my work.
Hmm.
He has at least made an attempt to understand it, what I
Hmm.
am trying to portray or project, or what I'm trying to write. So
Hmm.
as I said, I'm a very optimistic guy.
Optimism is in your tone.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely. So I never take it like, too hard. I'm happy
hmm.
that like today, if you don't like a particular poem, you say that that it's rubbish work, there is this,
Hmm.
there is that, and all that. This doesn't rhyme, it's not, the meter is not perfect, the
Hmm.
lines are not perfect, there is an intentional use of some words and all
Hmm.
that. That as well is fine for me.
Hmm.
At least you have read my and I'm thankful for you that you have read that, because today
Hmm.
there are like there is a huge plethora of content, I would say right in the in your palm, like and
Hmm.
through your phone itself you can access so many PDF. Then there is all kind of things, your Kindle readers, this and that. And
Hmm.
there are options, the options are wide open today.
Hmm.
So out of that, if you have taken out your valuable time to at
Hmm.
least read a few lines, I'm happy.
Wow. That is such a nice approach, I must say. Okay, if I may ask, birthday कब होता है आपका?
My birthday is on the 12th of March, madam.
Okay, fine. You are Pisces itself?
A person. Yes, yes, yes.
I was so sure कि या तो February होगा या March होगा मतलब Pisces होगा. I was
Ah,
so sure
lovely.
of
You are
it.
bang on right then. You are bang on right then.
I am a 24 February born, and believe me, the moment
Okay,
you
you're a
said
Piscean as well.
yes, and when you said that thing ना कि I am a happy go lucky guy, वही एक statement था आपका. I was like, okay, fine, he's a Piscean.
So true. Such a sharp observation, I'd say.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. That's great. So it's a pleasure to meet a fellow Piscean.
Absolutely, it is a pleasure. Be it anything in the way. कुछ भी चीज ना दिमाग में रहती नहीं है, मतलब परेशान नहीं होना होता है, ऐसा लगता है कि ठीक है ना, सबके साथ हो रहा है, इट्स नॉट जस्ट मी.
Yes, yes.
हाँ, तो वो मतलब
Correct,
उसमें
correct.
I
Very true.
never sat over a single problem I have in my being right now for more than 15 minutes बस.
True,
सोचो
true. The same goes
अगर
true with me. Let me assure you. The same goes
कोई
true with me.
एक्चुअली होते हैं ना कि सोल्यूशन अगर दिख रहा है कुछ तो ठीक है, नहीं दिख रहा तो छोड़ दिया, वो हो जाएगा अपने आप, मतलब
Yes,
इट विल
yes.
बी टेकन केयर ऑफ.
Correct,
हाँ.
correct,
वाओ, आई
correct.
एम जस्ट सो हैप्पी बीइंग इन
I do,
कनेक्ट
I
विद
do.
यू. वाओ.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thanks
The
to
same here.
you.
Like,
Okay, so one last question. What is that one
yes.
bonus statement that will go from you to the readers, to the listeners, to the observers, whosoever are going to be in connect with you after this podcast?
It's a simple one-liner, I would say. Like,
Hmm.
you must have heard of the phrase like, been there, done that. I'm sure everybody, has
Uh,
heard of. But for me, it's the reverse. I would say, done there and been that.
wow.
It is like you got it. Like, you got my
Uh-huh.
word. It's done there and
Done
been
there,
that.
been that. Yes.
As you have rightly put earlier in most of your questions, that I'm doing, many things like, all together.
Hmm.
It's not like, one thing.
Hmm.
This doesn't mean that, what you say, I am a jack of all trades and master of none.
Hmm.
But
Huh.
I feel like, whatever gives me happiness,
Hmm.
whatever gives me, pleasure, and
Hmm.
whatever is enriching to my soul,
Hmm.
that can be a very mundane activity like for example, like it's in my household I don't let my maid or my wife do that vegetable shopping. I go
Acha.
myself
Hmm.
every weekends or every other day, because that's a soul enriching activity for me.
Hmm.
Seeing the beautiful vegetables, the colors, understanding
Huh.
their flavor profiles, visiting the market, seeing all the hullabaloo and like people bustling and all
Hmm.
that, people haggling with shopkeepers and all that. So for me, it's a soul enriching thing.
Huh.
Buying vegetables. It's this is a very mundane activity.
Hmm.
So all kinds of things like I try to consciously do those activities, which
Hmm.
gives me like a pleasurable experience and which enriches my mind, body, and soul.
Huh. Gives the sense of life.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. This was such a beautiful conversation, and nice is the word for this, whole thing.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you, and I'm really humbled. Thank you very much, and all the very best.
Absolutely, and I look forward to working with you again on the launch of my novel
Same here. I was
very
about
soon.
to say this. All the very best to the novelist.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks, Acha.
Thank you very much, and best wishes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.